Hello, and you join me again with the Volvo. There's lots more to do. I've done a bit of shopping, I've got lots of parts to put on it soon. But first of all, I need to deal with the floor. This is still absolutely wringing wet. I don't know if it's because there are other holes in the floor, but more likely it's because where the holes were in the floor that I've plated up, and it's been raining for weeks, months even, and water has been soaking through it, and it's just drawn all up like a sponge, and now it's got nowhere to go. So I'm going to have to take the seats out, take the carpet out, and dry the whole thing out. Won't that be fun? I think first of all I'm going to put some old clothes on because this is going to stink. Now before I get going, there was one thing which happened the day after I cleaned the engine bay at the weekend. I came out the next day to move the car and it wouldn't go. It cranked and cranked, would not fire, couldn't work it out. I did think, oh God, I'm going to have to eat up some humble pie here, because everyone who said on the comments you didn't put anything over the distributor and the coil, well, they were right, but no, I cleaned all that up. It wasn't really wet. Obviously giving it a clean is always a good thing, so no harm there. Checked the spark plugs, they were dry, they're manky as anything, so there's some new ones in the garage, but still didn't make any difference. The car wouldn't start. Started pulling the HT leads, pulled the HT off the bottom of the distributor cap, and the end stayed in the cap. The HT lead had actually just rusted or verdigreed green until there was nothing there. I've stolen the HT lead out of the Rover 2000 for the time being, and the car actually runs better than it did before. So I've never seen that happen before. So yeah, that's a new form of car going wrong. That's, well, we live and learn, don't we? So on the plus side, I'm very glad I didn't mess up really badly with the cleaning process. There's no negative side really. I just need to buy a new HT lead. I've never taken an interior out of a Volvo before. I've never worked in a Volvo before, to be honest, I don't think. As I understand it, there are 4 bolts that hold these 2 front seats down, and that little weird kind of lippy catch thing, so in the event of a crash the car seat can't tip forward. Just got to find the bolts now. They're behind plastic cladding, which doesn't really want to come out very easily, so I'm trying to get it out without breaking it. Well, that was harder than it needed to be. At least it's out now. There were 1, 2, B-post and a bit of trim in the back door. I had to shift to get these bits out. They are absolutely filthy though, so I'll look forward to giving these a good clean. Ugh. While I'm working, just look how much dirt there is behind the plastic trim. And this is probably going to be the same in any car that's this kind of age. It just builds up behind there. There's no way of getting a hoover in there, and so it just collects as hair and dust and God knows what else. I'm wearing rubber gloves for this job. I'm looking forward to making this thing absolutely sparkle once this is out. Now it's just 4 13mm bolts and I can get this seat out of here. Easy. Now this is the kind of job that would absolutely be perfect for a 13mm ratcheting spanner. I did have one until that last effort when we were trying to get the W123 to run, and my ratcheting 13mm spanner fell into the engine bay, and I have no idea where it is now. I think it's still probably in the engine somewhere, inaccessible and invisible. And now the fun part, let's try and lift this thing out. Now, won't it lift up? Oh, wires, many wires. I wonder how they undo. Well, welcome to Compton. Hear the sirens in the background. It's free on all 4 bolts, but it won't lift out. I've just found a newspaper from 2003 though. Come on. Why won't you move? I don't know if you can see this, but halfway along the seat rail there is a big catch. It's like a safety thing that goes through a big hole. And I put the newspaper in to stop it falling back through. But on the other side of the seat it won't come loose, which is why I can't free the chair. Okay, done it. That was way harder than it needed to be. Ugh, that's, oh, a penny. See a penny, pick it up all that day, you'll have good luck, as they say. Right, let's unpick these, oh, it's cable tied on. I need snippers to undo the cables. And tennis balls. And a lot of dog hair. Someone's had a dog in this car. Tell my dogs are going to love this. Ha! Dog biscuit. You always wonder what you're going to find. If you watch Crown Rick Auto, he's always searching for biscuits in police cars. He's never found one. I've now found a biscuit of Crown Rick Auto. I've beaten you to it. Just snipping off the cable ties that hold the cables to the seat rail. Although I've got to say they don't look very Volvo OEM, so I wonder if this has happened before. Once it's out, I will be looking at how you repair the heated seat, because this passenger one has broken. Yeah, the thermostat is built into the seat on the cloth seat versions, and the loom breaks where it meets the heating element. Oh, that's interesting. The what? How the what? So you unplug the plugs and it's still connected to the car. Well, that's helpful. Not. And now the point of this whole ridiculous exercise to try and get the carpet out, which I'm really glad to see comes out in 4 pieces. So I don't have to take the centre console out. That's a bit cleaner. And of course the underlay, which is trapping all of that water. I'd say not a moment too soon with this. I've got more holes to deal with. Oh dear me. Come on, get out of there, you. This is really thick stuff and kind of moulded, so it's not really coming apart easily. It's kind of moulded. Oh my god, I'm bringing it out like a sponge. Oh, it's bolted there as well. Oh my word. How's this supposed to come out? Or does that go all over the top? I think it does. Oh dear me. No wonder I couldn't shift it before. I appear to be finding holes. I might have to cut the underlay out because there's just no way of freeing it. It's just too involved. Okay, I know people aren't going to like this, but I'm going to have to get a Stanley knife on this underlay because I can't get it out without taking the centre console out, and I need to get it out to dry it. And I've got more holes in the floor, so I'm really sorry, but I'm going to use violence and force on my £175 car. Oh dear, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to have to. Okay, I'm sorry 700 purists, I had to cut that, but this is wringing wet and it wasn't drying out anytime soon. And I just found quite a lot more holes in the floor. So here's a close-up view of what I've just discovered in the floor. This here goes down to fresh air. This goes down to some kind of box section. I need to get my grinder out again. Damn. I suspect I'll be finding the same thing on the driver's side as well. Well, this isn't how I planned on spending my afternoon, but here goes. I spent the last few minutes carving holes out the floor. I thought I'd get the wire brush attachment on the grinder just to sort of scrape up the rest of the loose old sound deadening rust proofing stuff. And it wasn't doing a very good job by the look of it because I just found yet another hole. I'm going to cut that out and then call it a night because it's getting dark and the neighbours are going to get pretty much fed up of me. Well, I took the day off to carry on welding this car today, but this is now where I would have my welder right now. That's the drain I dropped the bolt down the other day. I had to stop last night because it was getting dark, but this is the holes I've cut. I've smooshed some rust killer. This is the other side of the channel actually I was working on the other day. And there's an extra hole up here, which you might be able to see. Fortunately, I didn't go through the lines, which are on the other side of that, so I'll put a big lump of wood between the car floor and the pipes themselves when I weld that. I had taken the day off work today to do this welding, but that's probably not going to happen for a few minutes. With all these holes in the floor, fixing this heater has suddenly taken a back seat. Okay, I'll get on with it. This thing is absolutely loaded with dog hair, dust, leaves, God knows what else. I was in the 2p. Well, so far my score for taking out the passenger seat is 3p, 2 tennis balls and a dog biscuit. Before I do any more cutting, grinding, I'm going to get all the rest of the debris out just to make it a less disgusting work environment. I won't give you the whole blow-by-blow of welding because we did that in the last video and you'll get bored and it'll be exactly the same but with me looking much more fed up this time. So, cut to the time lapse. Here's the GoPro. Oh, it's 20p. Hey, this car is paying for itself already. Wow. In my book I've won. With all the coins I've found, this car now cost me £174 and 77p. If I go on like this, it'll be free. So I've cut another piece out, shaped into here. Just going to knock a bit of sound deadening off there before I weld it, and I've put a bit of metal on the other side to shield the lines that are a centimetre or two away from the floor behind this. So hopefully there's not going to anything be catching fire. The fire extinguisher is right behind me though. This on the passenger side was a bit of a pain, but then I've never done one of these cars before, and I was very much feeling my way and working out what went where and how I had to undo everything. Oh. I wasn't even sure that these were covers or moulded parts of the trim, so everything was new, and I was going to say exciting, but annoying is probably a better word to put it. So 4 of those square ones. Up here on the B post there's one more little round one. I really hope there aren't dozens of holes on this side that there are on the passenger one, because that was really, really annoying. For my own reference, big orange, yellowy zinc ones into the side trim. Oh, that seat cover's broken. That's annoying. Ouch. Didn't realise this seat cover's actually cracked in half, which I guess means it's definitely been out before. And once again, underneath the covers, this is really, really gross. I do kind of wish to start on the driver's side, because this is just so wet. I don't know if you can see that water in there. It's just utterly sodden. That was easy second time round. Now, interestingly, on this side, which there wasn't on the passenger side, oh god damn, this is horrible, there is a layer of felt underlay glued to the floor. That stinks. Oh my god, that's revolting. Oh, that smells so bad. Oh dear god. And it's full of water. Oh, that's horrid. I need to wash my hands and get some gloves. Yeah, that's quite wet. Yep, that's quite damp, sound deadening. Right, so what state is the rest of this floor in, is the big question. If we get this remaining soggy stuff up, you know what I think? I might have just caught this in the nick of time. This patch here by under the accelerator is multiple layers, and that's kind of some of the upper layers have gone through, but the other stuff seems alright. That's just, oh no, I'm not alright. Damn. Well, that's actually kind of a relief. It's only one small hole this side on the floorboard, so that'll be a lot easier to plate up than the passenger side was. So be thankful for small mercies, as they say. Well, it's a bigger hole than I was hoping for, as they always are, but it's not the end of the world, and it's just a nice little T shape, or L shape maybe. I can just grind the corners of that square, plate that, job done, thank goodness. And that bigger hole over there was not really anything at all either, so big relief all round. I've got an interesting new little problem here now, in that I'm down to the last dregs of my big sheet of metal I've had for absolutely ages, and none of my little bits are quite big enough to cover, oh, that'll just about do it. If I really carefully trim that, like that, I can just about cover this hole. Damn, that's literally only just down to the millimetre. It's a weird shaped hole and a weird shaped bit of metal, but it's just about kind of does it. Ha, what are the chances, eh? What are the chances? Well, that's actually a slightly neater job on the driver's side than the passenger side. Still not award-winning, but waterproof, solid, not rusty. And again, I'll smother it in seam sealer and under seal and stuff like that, so it'll look presentable, and you'll never know. Now let's go quickly pull up that rear carpet, and then I can move on to stuff I actually wanted to do to this car, other than plating holes in the floor. I can't quite pull the carpet out without raising the entire back seat. I don't know how to do that without damaging it. So I'm just going to try lifting the carpet up. Ugh, yuck. And oh my word, look at that. This is like the Mercedes all over again. Yuck. On the plus side, that's actually really good metal underneath there, so I'll just sponge that out and hopefully it'll dry out all on its own. I'm really glad I caught this before it went through the floor, because I don't want to do any more welding. I'm bored of welding now. I don't want to put the front carpets back in until I've found out whether or not I've cured the leak problems, because I don't want to be recarpeting it and then having to take them all out again if they fill with water some more. So finally, I think I've finished welding a stupid car. I don't think there's any more rust in it, or maybe some in the boot, but I've not even looked and I'm not going to. So now I can do something I was going to do at the beginning of this video when I started. Change the spark plugs. It's a simple, tiny thing, but it'll make the car run better. Oh, I'll reconnect the battery as well. Quite often when I do these videos, you don't see me disconnecting the battery for a weld or taking the cap off the brake fluid when I'm changing or doing the brakes, that kind of stuff, just because it's boring to look at, and I don't see the need to sort of spend 30 seconds of a quite fairly short video anyway doing something mundane like that. But people always comment, did I do it? Yes, I always do it. I just don't show you every time because it's boring. My spark plug socket is missing a little bit of rubber in the bottom that holds the plug in when you're changing it, so I'm going to see if I can cannibalise this broken HT lead cap and make it into something that will be useful for me. Oh, I'll see if I can grab this as a Spitfire going over. I haven't seen a Spitfire in a few days, so that's quite a nice treat. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it feels good actually. Oh no, maybe not. It's too intrusive. Mark II with a hole cut in the bottom. See if that works. That feels like it might actually go on deep enough. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, these plugs are definitely past their best. I don't give out much in the way of advice and top tips, partly because I'm no expert and I'm not Mr. China, so my top tips aren't particularly useful. But one top tip I will say, if you're new to car mechanicking and playing with cars, to know from some of the comments that some of my viewers are sort of teenage, 17, 16, just looking to get into cars, and so I haven't done this before perhaps. When you change spark plugs or HT leads, only ever do them one at a time, because if you take off more than one, it's very easy to forget which end goes where. And if you've got 4 dangling wires beside an engine, and if you get them in the wrong order, the car's not going to start again. And you only ever do that once, because the hours you will spend playing guess the lead, wonder where this one goes, until the car starts again, are very frustrating, unless you happen to have a book with a photo or know enough about engines to be able to trace the wires back, because you can trace them 1, 2, 3, 4 from the distributor in some engines if you know what you're doing. But if you don't happen to know that information, you're on your own and you're just basically playing try the lead in a different combination and fire the engine again until eventually it goes, which is a very boring afternoon. Why do they always make rear plugs so hard to get to? This one, I'm having to use a bendy extendery thing, which is no fun. Great thing about old cars, you don't have to worry about putting your foot on the clutch to start it. Whee! Lovely. It actually runs beautifully, as always. Brilliant car. So, one final thing before I shut the garage up and go and edit this for the night. This temperature gauge still sits on 0 the whole time, so I've left the engine running a couple of minutes just to get warm. Go around the front. The viscous fan is spinning. And This top hose is very warm, keep my fingers very clear. Bottom hose is quite cool actually. Well, there's the thermostat, and if that's passing hot water into there, that must be water going through the radiator, and the radiator is doing its job and cooling and putting cool water back to the bottom hose, which means it's not the thermostat, which means it is that little sensor in there. I better go and find me one of them. Well, that took several days longer than I planned to do, just a couple of hours working because the weather was not on my side one bit, and neither was the amount of welding that I needed to do. That was also very annoying. But at least the floor is now, for certain, definitely, absolutely, 100% not got any more holes in it, I hope. And we've got some new spark plugs and an HT lead that works. The car runs and it's not leaky. Well, we don't know it's not leaky. We hope it's not leaky, so I'll leave the carpet out. The carpet's now drying in the shed. I won't know until it rains again whether or not the car actually is leaking, whether it's pooling water again. Hopefully by then I've put some rust-proof paint across the footwells on both sides. So thank you for joining me on this adventure in the Volvo. It's becoming a saga, a Viking saga, rather than a, I don't know what else it was going to be, a short story. But no, next time we've got more stuff to do on the front of the car. We've got the wheels, got tyres, brakes, bushes. That's the next instalment. Then we're going to sort out this roof. Then we're going to give this thing a proper shine. I've been promising that, tantalising, teasing you with the shining of this car. Well, we'll call it the shinning because possibly the shining is copyright and I don't want to get sued by any Hollywood studios. Thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed this and want to follow this car to its conclusion, where it finally goes up the drag strip at Santa Pod in about 4 days, probably, the acceleration it's got, then please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and you'll see when more stuff happens about this car and other stuff on the channel, because there's stuff happening on the old Blue Rover as well, and I need to get some stuff done on the White Rover too. This has not whet my taste buds to do lots more welding, but unfortunately the Alpha needs a lot more welding. There's lots to happen and more car reviews coming, so please hit like and subscribe as I say, and I'll see you again next time when stuff happens. Bye!